Thank you, Ale, and hi, everyone. I am Marco, aka Vasapower. I am one of the core researcher or the DFO Hub ecosystem and the co-inventor of DFO Hub, the main idea and the DFO protocol. Today I'm here to talk about the on-chain organizations. They are extremely important because for the first time, technology can meet the full power of the collaboration between people that doesn't know each other, and they can cooperate through to build something amazing together anonymously and censorship resistant. And this is a journey that me and Ale started almost a year ago, but we just used all the stuff we learned through our paths before we met. So it's not just a near stuff. It's just the thing of life for us because we put all our knowledge and all our dreams in this kind of stuff. And today I show you the side which is the contribution I gave to this journey. And before to start, I want to say that this is a technical speech, so it's dev-oriented, which is not means that there will be code, there will be some tricky and technical parts, but it's just oriented to see all the stuff through the view of a developer. And so if you have any question about it, please ask me in this side, because this is the focus of this this session. So where we did start? We started talking because we were in the blockchain environment, and we had two main problems. The first of all is that the blockchain, the Ethereum, is an append-only ecosystem structure, append-only multi-agent system, which means that every time you write something, it's still there for a long, long time. And if you write a smart contract with a bug, you will have that bug forever. This is why, just because who write the smart contracts are human beings, and human beings, of course, are not perfect. So they, if you want to create something amazing and something durable in time, you just be aware to not to do not errors, because human beings do errors every time, but just to create the best structure to correct, to fix errors. This is the best approach when you program smart contracts and when you, of course, build on-chain organizations. Well, let's go back in the Web 2. In Web 2, there are a lot of amazing stuff useful to prevent or to fix errors, because there are a lot of amazing technologies like microservices, like DevOps approaches. They have documental DBs, and they have, of course, performing tools like, for example, IDEs or debugging tools, which help developers to easily identify and correct problems. And all this stuff is actually in early stage for the Web3, for the Ethereum ecosystem. But the Web3 has a secret weapon that the Web2 doesn't have, and it is Dogecoin. Of course, this is a joke, but it's extremely important to analyze it, because Dogecoin was a cryptocurrency wanted by community, anonymous community, and built by anonymous community. So this is just one of the experiments that the community, the anonymous community, can do something really amazing using the math, using the science, using the computer science, because of course computer science is math. And if you use Ethereum and if you use Solidity, you have more extremely powerful tools to do that. And the idea beyond the on-chain organization is just this: use all the actual tools, even if in beta, like Solidity, and merging, fusing them with the software engineer approach, which came from the Web 2. No matter the purpose, if you are doing an on-chain organization, if you are building a DFO or something like that, you just need to be smart when you start to approach a problem and start to program the problem. So even if you are programming a functionality or even to solve bugs, you have all the tools to identify all the stuff you need to do, and in a programmatic way and a software-based way for both the code on the smart contract and, of course, the UI side. So, for example, what this means that, for example, in an on-chain organization, all the people can identify easy and quickly all the functionalities of it and easily interact with them in a really elastic way. Every feature or every bug must be isolated. What this means? This means that, for example, if you, I don't know, if you need to program all the stuff, all the functionalities in a way that are self-sustainable, so you can, of course, bring and build them in pieces. So every functionality, every feature, every bug also is a brick. It's just a little brick of your code, and you can easily identify and isolate, so you can replace or add more or remove some brick and etc. This will bring the possibility to make the bugs harmless, because of course, if you delimit the perimeter, the bounds of every functionality, every feature, the bugs will attack only that functionality, only that part of code, and it is extremely important to prevent losses, to prevent disasters, and to prevent all the ecosystem continue to work, even if there are bugs that you can, of course, fix and replace. And all this stuff can be possible to do for all the people out there, not only for the team who developed there. The team who developed there, the ecosystem is just the starter of the project, of the idea, of the goal, but the goal and the idea evolves in time. So, of course, it must be more. Its life has to be more long than the people who developed it at start. So. All the tools you make must be made to let everyone contribute in positive and in negative, so to improve them or to solve bugs on them in the future. And this is what we call flexibility at start, of course, because we strongly believe that if you project and develop the right code, you can solve any kind of problems which will present in time, even if you don't prevent it. This is extremely important. So the bugs are still there always, because code is made by human beings. The most important thing is to create a structure which will not prevent, which will not stop the normal execution just for maybe something stupid at the time. We will, and now I will show you what was our approach in how to implement this approach. First of all, we talked about the identification. The identification, what means two things. identificate every single part which build all your ecosystem, and or identify the place of a bug. We just started from a simple concept of the software engineering, which is the model-driven design approach, which says that every software system has 3 dimensions, like in a cube: the structure, the interaction, and the behavior. The structure is to easily identify how and many are the parts of your system, of your ecosystem, of your organization. There are atomic parts, there are standalone parts. The atomic parts are made by these customized parts and other atomic parts, and so on and so forth. So you need to identify in an empiric way all the stuff that compose your environment. And this, for example, is useful to let the people which don't code to easily understand what you are going to do in the code. So the code is just a representation of the real life organization, and the fidelity one-to-one between the communication of the coder and the communication to the users is extremely important. The second pillar is the interaction one. Once you identified every piece of the code, you just need to write a conceptual map of the interaction, who talks with whom. So you can, of course, define all the communication points and all how to link apparently not linked items of your code, of your ecosystem, and whatever. The third pillar is, of course, the behavior. How every component or aggregational component will act when stimulated. And this is another extremely important pillar, because, of course, again, the isolation plays a huge role here, because if you are so smart to well define the behavior of each component, they can be easily replaced or reused, for example, or removed. The second one thing I was talking about before was the isolation. Isolation means that every component, every macro or micro component must be isolated. This means that it must be self-sustainable. It can work greatly alone and in aggregation with other components. So, for example, in the FAO, these are the microservices that we call it microservices, which are just smart contracts. In the old approaches of DAOs or smart contracts in general, there is one smart contract, multiple functionalities. In the new approach, in the on-chain organization, it would be better to have an approach like one smart contract, one functionality, an ecosystem, and on-chain organization, multiple smart contracts. And of course, again, we used the software engineering approaches, like, for example, the single responsibility. Every smart contract, every functionality, every microservice, every piece of your on-chain organization must be like an island. It has its own ecosystem inside, but it can interact between other smart contracts to create a more great ecosystem. And of course, they can be reusable. As any one of us known, to create a smart contract, you need to deploy it on a blockchain. You need to pay some gas to do it. And it will really awesome, and it is really awesome, because it's a reality right now, to can create standalone smart contracts. I call stateless smart contracts, which can be reused in time from, for more than one ecosystem that can share the code, just deploying one time and use several times in several even different ecosystems. Why not? And this is the power of modularization. Modules are just plug and play stuffs which can be combined or used standalone. But well, to avoid bugs, it's extremely important stuff in smart contracts because, of course, as we said, they are not replaceable. They are not editable. So the idea behind the on-chain organizations and the DFOs is to stratificate every part of the code and isolate it if there is some problem. So stratification means that, again, modularization or standalone components which are working standalone and in tandem, in composition. And if there is a bug, it's just attack just one part of the code and not all the entire ecosystem, which continuously to work. This is, for example, extremely important in DeFi. This is one of the most important pillars of the DeFi manifesto, the responsible DeFi manifesto we wrote, because if there is something that doesn't work, for example, I don't know, in maybe in some staking contracts or in your AMM or whatever you want, the people must be able to retrieve, to have the possibility to take back their money if they invest in something, they staking something, and this is extremely important to have a continuous availability, even if, for example, there is not the possibility anymore to to insert more money. All the people must be able to take back everything they bet on your smart contracts. And the software engineer is just used for this. In Web2, you can easily solve some problems like this, and not so easy in smart contracts. So easily identifying and easily isolate all the components of your ecosystem, of your organization, is extremely important to prevent errors and disasters. Which is not they are perfect. This does not means they are perfect. It just means that you are be able to repair stuff. You are able to upgrade stuff in your ecosystem, and you can grow with your ecosystem. And the last part, of course, is the community, is the anonymous people which contribute to the protocols, contribute to the ecosystem in an extremely active way, not passive ones. For example, it's not community-driven to ask for opinions about how the code must be made. It's not community-driven to let the people change only partial or marginal stuff in your ecosystem. It's proactive activity. Sorry. This means that the people, the community, just propose what to change in the ecosystem, but using the code, which can be easily switched and easily integrated. So the on-chain organization works like this. It makes available a lot of stuff to use the organization, so use the functionality of the organization, and propose new one, to directly propose new one proactively. And there is, I think, in the next slide, no, in the next one. And this is extremely important stuff to make the ecosystem human readable, so they can use and they can interact, improve, and correct. Using the software engineering, it's just useful to let the human being and the code to talk to the same language, and this can be useful to prevent a lot of errors and to let the ecosystem grow. This is a little example of how the DFO protocol work. I wanted to show you because I think that this brings all the essence of the on-chain organization. There are users that can interact with all the pieces of the organizations, which of course is organized in more than smart contracts, and there are top smart contracts. Like, for example, the proxy, which is the one who serve the users, and that talks with other delegates, which are other interoperable and interchangeable smart contracts, which has in a divide et impera way, which means divide and manage every single aspect of the entire chain organization. For example, the users can interact with the functionalities of the organization through the proxy, and the proxy doesn't resolve the functions by itself. It asks to the functionalities manager, which is the one delegated to do that, and which links all the microservices of the organization. Microservices that, as we said before, they can be reused in more part and more ecosystem at the same time, because of course we are in blockchain, and there are the transactional approach of the code, so it can be usable multiple times in multiple places at one time. If, for example, if a user proposes something new, the proxy doesn't serve again the proposal itself. It asks to the proposals manager. So the proxy is the coordinator of all the entire stuff. When someone proposes something, the proposal manager will manage the proposal. The proposal contains the code. It's not just a discussion, it's not just a description of what the developers must do. It's the code that the organization must have. It's a huge difference here. And the token holders, the other community, not the users, can vote so to actively accept or refuse the proposal made by people. So token holders or other people outside, maybe contributors, can create something, and the token holders can insert in proposal. Of course, the more you are involved in the organization in terms of belief of the goal, of the vision of that organization, the more your contribution can be huge. And once the proposal is terminates, if accepted, it automatically, without any type of interaction of the human being, it automatically became a functionality of that ecosystem, of that organization. And what can do the functionality? The functionalities, the microservices of an organization. Maybe, for example, interact with the assets of the organization. So you can write something to manage all your assets, or you manage your businesses, your NFTs, anything you want. And the most important part is that once someone proposes something, that microservices can be shared between other ecosystems. So write once, run everywhere. And it's extremely powerful, of course. And we have an example of what means shareable, what means this. I think that this example will encapsulate everything, all the things I've said, because there is everything here. This is the microservices, the microservice involved to check if a proposal, so a functionality, is passed or not. And there is everything here. First of all, let's take a closer look to the method signature. The name check survey result, and the argument of the functionality is the proposal address. Okay, so first question, who this proposal belongs to? Here is not specified because it's not necessary to do it. This is a general purpose approach because you can use this functionality in every organization, in every DFO. For example, this is the main purpose, the main functionality. Every DFO will inherit from DFO Hub when it is created. So you create a new DFO, and DFO Hub will use their its microservices and attach it to the new DFO. So not create a new one, just use the old address. So if you want to check at the first, of course, the address of the microservice of check survey result of DFO Hub is the same of the other DFOs. And of course, it can be changed, but it's the same address. It means that it's just deployed one time and is and it can serve several DFOs. And the second part, most important in the method signature, is the return type. It turns a result. True, the proposal passes. False, the proposal doesn't pass. It's not. It's refused. It's not accepted. Here there is just a little piece of code with extremely punctual logic, and it is totally DFO agnostic because in the DFO protocol you are sure that every functionality of the DFO, every microservice of the DFO is called by the proxy itself. You remember the drawing I showed you? We are here. The user interacts to check if the proposal is okay or not, and the proxy called the functionality useful to check the proposal. And we are in this case. So here there are the stateless logics of this functionality. What means stateless? Means that the smart contracts, including this functionality, doesn't have any kind of state. It's totally 100% independent, so it can be used. Because if you don't have any state, you don't depend from any kind of organization. And of course, you can be reused. And the logic, it's quite simple to extend, because if you want to create your own survey result, proposal result checker, forgot the names, we will change in new versions of the protocol. If the proposal passes, you can choose how a proposal pass, because you just have to take the address of a proposal and return a result. True passes, false doesn't pass. And inside of the logic is about you, about the organization, about the community, about the developers, and of course the users voting that. And you can, of course, create everything you want. So I think that I terminate my presentation here, and I'm open to all your questions. So let's make some discussion about it. And please, questions. Thank you.
Hey.
Hello.
It was very cool. And so I think we have a question here, but before we have to take the Discord question, so let me take a minute to
Yeah, sure.
push the share screen. Okay. Okay, I'm not doing any. Okay, so because before, for a moment, CD for error shared our DM conversation in live.
Lol.
So I want to be sure to don't do the same thing. So let's go to the on-chain organization questions.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question for you. Where do you see DFO Hub in 5 years from now?
Yes, this is a really wonderful question. Thanks, Hugo. And the response is that no one knows. But I am damn sure that everything the future will bring us of amazing, we are ready to host it into DFOs and DFO Hub, of course, because the flexibility of the structure lets right now bring everything inside it. So I'm really exciting. I can't wait to see all the evolutions of the zero knowledge protocols and of course the OVM of the optimistic virtual machine. So maybe in the future we will have something like this. This is how this is what I'm studying right now, the zero knowledge and OVM. To let the people have a better experience using the on-chain organization. But of course, 5 years is a really long-term deadline. So everything can comes out. Just keep in mind that Solidity is just in beta version right now. We have 0.8 which came out several days ago. Not so much.
Yeah. In Ethereum, 5 years are like 15 years in the regular tech ecosystem. So
sure, of course. You remember that amazing drawing by Vitalik Buterin of the entire map of the Ethereum?
the Yet2 roadmap.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to do the one for us.
Maybe, I don't know. And keep in mind that more on that map is not already implemented. It's just theorized.
It's just theorized in R&D, like the at1x, like sharding and all of the cool stuff. And so that's the thing, because most of the people forget the facto that all on Ethereum is in R&D. That's why, for example, I'm pretty skeptics about projects that say we have the fantastic product rather than we are in R&D, we are trying to experiment that or this.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Ivo.
Can I answer too with the Ivo?
Sure, if
I
you
would
have
say DFL on Mars with Elon. In 5 years now, just joking.
So no moon anymore, Mars directly? Cool.
No. It's not in financial terms.
So I know. No worry, man.
I mean, just a joke. I didn't figure it out that you can say Mars on financial term, like the moon or something.
Cool.
For now, it seems that most aptly leveraging from the DFO's concept and features are new projects. How will you manage to convince some actual big key players of the DeFi ecosystem that DFO framework feature will help their protocol vision? You will manage to make them switch from a DAO to a DFO. Can I say a little bit before?
Yes.
Because
Yes, I will
these are
appreciate
part of
it.
the misconception we will address tomorrow morning. It's not about switch from a DFO to a DFO, but it's about to roll the DL code in a DFO to don't need to have a company in the real world and to have a company inside Ethereum, then be part of the capture of the corporate capture of Ethereum we are figuring today in the DeFi. So it's a big change for a lot of perspective.
Okay, because of this is a technical session, I can answer it, of course, in the but from the technical side. Yeah. And every time I approach to a new a project that is not DFO, for example, when we created the fixed inflation microservices or the liquidity mining ones, I needed to interact with Uniswap, with the code of Uniswap. I was searching in the code of Uniswap how it works, and there I just discovered something that I didn't know before. And I think that if the people, if the projects see the importance of the flexibility, they naturally adopt it. It's not just to use the DFOs. Of course, the community-driven stuff, it's extremely important. But the approach of the code, I think that it's more important from the technical side. And why choose DFL? Because for the R&D, because it's extremely important to have a growing ecosystem which can, of course, identify and insulate concepts which are extremely important in the DeFi ecosystem. So
yeah,
this is one.
I totally agree with you. Totally. I mean,
another question.
So this is a good question.
Yes.
Not so much R&D has been done yet about the governance voting. It seems for the DFL comes at critical point. Basically, if the owner has too many tokens, he can take the control of the DApp. So that's a thing we can address to the talk about the 0.5, I think, because much of the R&D will be based on sub-DAO concept and on new governance standard that will be usable in the 0.5, because the difficulty in the DFL 0.3 is de facto that it's difficult for people to use the same contract or the same factories that other people make it. And for my perspective, and I want to know the macro perspective, the real solution of this problem is to R&D by a tech side for all of the difficulties and possible governance in the future. And it's the same thing that we have to process that happens in the real world with equities. So if someone is a big shareholder of Facebook and he is act bad, people are fucked for their data. So that's a problem in the world, and I think we will face it by generating in the future more and more governance things that are something that was impossible to do before the Ethereum. So that's my personal perspective. Yeah, so quadratic voting and all of these things. Yeah, and all of these things are in the 0.5 basically, so are possible there. So.
Okay, I have a question about it. I have I have my part of answer about it. And to be extremely honest, I based all my presentation on this question. because the most important stuff is the message which must be passed. I started saying, I'm one of the core researchers, I'm one of the co-inventor, I'm just one of the other contributors of dozens of contributors we have here. And we cooperate each other to create something. And we are not here to rule the code, we're just here to contribute to the code. And for example, the code example I showed is just about the functionality proposal, how to choose the functionality proposal pass, just to show you how easy it can be to create your own and propose your own and contribute it by your own to all the ecosystem. So if you have any idea, you can do it there. The code is on the DFO Hub and DFO protocol GitHubs. And as I said, when I just watched at the Uniswap code, the Uniswap code was there to let every people do something with it. And the developers of Uniswap maybe don't know we used it, but we just read and use, and you can do it the same stuff here. So if you are saying why the R&D is not going at this moment, of course, at this moment, just because we are busy with the building of the other stuff of the ecosystem. And the problem you address are really important. And the answer of Ale, I think that it was definitely the right one to solve the problem. So the problem is absolutely, it's not a problem, it's an evolution step which is on track. And we can bring it together.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think sometimes people misunderstand the protocol to the front end.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
sure.
People think that DFO is like Aragon or something where there are people based on the team, and you can basically select as in a boomer way. But this is about to code what you think and what you want and what you want to R&D with your DFO. It's totally different. You can code everything that is not in the standardized contract. So the standard contract we made in the beginning is just to simplify some basic things for DFOs. But this doesn't mean that you can build on top. I think.
Yeah.
What kind of R&D are you thought about to make DFO more whales resistant? So that's the same question.
It's the same question, yeah. The other one is isolating.
Yeah, isolating. What is the idea and function behind the smart contract recycling? I see is the only planned for later in the project, but it seems like an important update as it has its own release planned. To be totally smart contract recycling is the same thing as Minecraft, is the same name as the factory and all of the stuff we are working in the 0.5. So I know that we use different names, maybe in the old roadmap, maybe after that we call Minecraft, but because before the release we changed the name very, very quickly.
The beautiful,
as flexible as
the beautiful side of the R&D, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your point about how much do you think is important, this kind of smart contract recycling thing?
This is the base. This is the main pillar. I used even this question to drive my presentation. If we are now actually we are thinking to develop the front end part of the smart contract recycling, but as I said and as I showed, it's actually used.
It's already there.
Yes, it's the main part, because As I said, old approach, one smart contract, multiple functionalities. Our approach, multiple smart contracts, one functionality for each smart contract. This is isolating and recycling, because we showed how it can be easy to share the microservices, the smart contracts between the same address, the same deployed address between organizations.
Yeah. To address this, we are basically empowered by the idea of versioning,
Yes.
the idea of try to help people to create factories. And so it's easier to track how many DFOs use these factories and all of these things. But yeah, because yeah, the interesting thing is that you can just code it and try and take code for another DFO and improve it. So that's things. I think we have to work very better for the next front end to make this easier and easier, more like a GitHub and all of these things. I think it will be so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, we are working on it, so don't worry. But this is a good question. A big problem that I can see right now with DFO Hub is that people are here for fame many times and like to be centerpiece of a project because it's very gratifying. What could DFO provide to force people to build on DFO rather than trying to? So I have to say, fucking yeah. Something that personally, and after I take the give the word to Vasapower, but I want to say that something that I hate of the DeFi ecosystem is basically this. And so there is so much ego there, but so much ego from developers and especially people, and that's bad. That's bad because DeFi is becoming a corporate captured part of Ethereum, and is basically all about relationship, all about famous people, or about, it's totally the contrary of anonymity or code, trust code and not trust people. It's always about trust people, trust company, trust things. And I think it's a period because it's the beginning, like what happened in the ICO bubble. But yeah, so I totally agree with the comment of Shader. So sorry, your answer.
Well, I think that we must do nothing to force people, because I think that it will be a natural transaction. We just one of the best part of the UI of DFO app, the one I like the most, is the code editor. I just wanted it in that way because the people can use it, can have fun using it. So please don't copy other codes. Use it, write your own code, and do it your personalization, your customization. Sorry. I don't remember. Do you remember, man, when we found that the DFO in that Ropsten, which tried to create a microservice by their own? I don't know, maybe something linked to the try to understand how the workflow works, and so it was this testnet. There was that this DFO in testnet, which is something which a proposal. Okay, we just saw the proposal and contribute to it, creating another proposal with a lot of comments explaining how it can do that stuff. So the people can, so we appreciate a lot the contributors, even if they are not perfect, but they can be stimulating for us. And we use this approach every time, even, for example, for the material guys, which contributed to the creation of the item in a little part, because we were interacting and discussing about
yeah. So I can share a hint, a little story about the item release. Because at that moment, if you remember, we had this emergency things, and so we started from working on Unify, go to work on the emergency things, and return to Unify to a item, an emergency things, and a item. And something we didn't thought before the release, this was the idea to wrap at. It was a very simple things, but we didn't have in mind. Oh yeah, we have to.
We are just
wrap at.
Yeah, Daniele called me and say, "Sorry, Marco, how to wrap Ethereum?" I think we forgot here, but we can write just a comic book. With all the stuff happened during the creation of the item. The first one was what? Transfer ERC20 in batch? Okay, let's do it. And
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something it was really awesome. It was really fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like everything involved with us. Okay, there are.
So next question. There is an article by Fred Ashram, co-founder of Coinbase, mentioning some similar arguments.
Yeah.
My question will be how to incentive token holder voting. How could gas cost voting be lowered or democratic behavior rewarded? So this time you first.
Okay. Well, as I said, this is a technical question, so I think that I'm not so important. It's not focused on the argument. It's important, of course. Sorry, but it's not focused on the argument. Well, the stuff is that token holder are holders because they are interested in that organization. They cure it. I think the best thing brought by the Ethereum ecosystem in the world is the stuff that the people, anonymous people, are really interested about projects. They are really, why? Because we are here right now. Just because we had a lot of people interested in what we are doing. And of course, they want to contribute even with these questions that which let us grow or better explain our R&D approach. So this is the way that the people are incentivized to vote, to let the stuff they are researching on, they are fans of to grow with them. So it's community stuff, and it can serve a lot of people around the world.
Yeah, I want to add a thing. When you are in a board of director of a company, you don't have to incentivize people to vote for the future of the company, and so that's a very marketer kind of stuff. I think. So. There will be in our R&D maybe some optional things about the idea to I don't know, use tokens to incentivize voting, but I think I don't know, there is two ways of running on-chain organizations. So the first one the first one is just to use the buzzword DAO, buzzword on-chain stuff, and do unuseful voting things, at maybe polls in some cases. And so you have to incentivize people to vote, because you can go to investor and say, oh, you see, people vote, I have values, or these kind of things. That I think is pretty annoying. And but if you have to vote for an important things of change, you already are incentivized to vote. So if you are in a board of director of Facebook, and because basically voting in DFOs, it's both like a GitHub PR and both like a board of director of a company. You have your own incentive to vote and based on important things, and so that's the thing. I don't see, and I like that Vitalik said something about all of these things. So I don't see the governance things like a game for sophisticated Ethereans who just want to vote because it's cool, but because it's important. And gas costs obviously is a thing of Ethereum, and with 0.5 in our test, I put this in the description. We are trying to reduce 90% of gas costs when you create a
proposal
and stuff. So, and maybe in the future with optimistic, things will be better. But it's the same thing. So when you have to go in a board of director, you have to take your car, you have to pay the gas of your car to go there and vote, or you have to do a lot of things. So I think it's an overvaluated problem that some people have in Ethereum. So do you remember when people was crazy about we'll never use DEX because gas costs, and we have Uniswap that have more volume than all of the centralized exchange, and maybe more the all of them combined if you really know what's a real what real order or not. So so I think yeah, there will be a lot of optional things that you can do on top of a DFO, like we said before. But personally, in the Ethereum community, this kind of a trend that voting is like, I don't know, something you have to do because it's cool and not because it's important, I'm really can't see this more, because the trend is to make DAOs just to build a token in the last month. So yeah, it's kind of remind me 2017. So sorry for the not political correct things.
Thanks for your contribution to the discussion. Okay, yeah, I see a question on YouTube. Maybe?
Yeah, there is a question that is pretty interesting.
How will people update code? Will someone remove a part of the code and add his own, or will it just add it? How will update work and impact the whole ecosystem? Well, as I showed in the schema, there is in DFOs, there is the functionalities manager, which is responsible to target and serve all the codes to interact with the functionalities. So when you talk about updating the code, you are talking about to update several microservices, several functionalities. It's the same stuff. And so the functionalities manager has an array inside it referencing all the microservices, all the smart contracts, and the code name linked to it. So the code name, it's just like Web2 endpoint API, and you can use it to interact with the functionality, and the functionalities manager will resolve this code name linking the correct functionality address, the correct smart contract address. So what means update the code? It means you can write a copy, for example, fork the original functionality, edit the code, deploy it, because of course it's new code, new smart contract, and when the proposal passes, the DFO ecosystem automatically calls the functionalities manager to delete the old row in the array, delete your position in the array, and replace with the new one, or add more, or just remove without adding anything. So this is how the workflow works. And the impact of the ecosystem is for the new interactions with the organization from now on, because of course they can refer to the new part of code, to the new microservice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I see CD and Kanzu, they are, if they want to join us on the stream. Hey, CD. Yeah, you're muted. Hey, Kanzu. You're both muted, so you have to
unmute.
Active your.
How's that?
Let me
Hello.
switch.
I know that Kenzo is learning Solidity.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Hey, Marco. Happy Buidlerberg.
Yeah, happy Buidlerberg to you, man. I know that you are learning Solidity. Is it correct?
Slowly but surely. I got a lot out of that lecture you just gave, or little speech you just gave, because it actually made sense now, just seeing all the JavaScript functions or the Solidity functions lined up like that. It was cool. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, this is awesome. But I haven't really deployed anything on mainnet, so I'm still just playing around on the test space. But I'm close.
Yeah,
I need to get out there and mint some items. So hopefully by the end of this event, I'll be ready.
Can't wait to have you contribute with me and Ale to the code.
Yeah, me too.
DFO.
You guys, once I get in there, who knows? That sparks are gonna fly.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Cool, guys. Cool. How much time do we have?
We have, 50 minutes. So, have you guys some questions about this this talk?
Yeah, I want to ask something actually. So it kind of seems like you can basically wrap the entirety of the current state of governance tokens and just put it within the bubble that is the DFO ecosystem, and it would just kind of solve so many of the issues. Do you see that as something that you want to happen, or do you think it should happen? That being like the slow transition from DAO governance backed by actual companies that are responsible of the code themselves. Do you think this should be some sort of like a movement? Maybe.
Want to start you or start I?
I think that I didn't understand well the question. Can you please?
I'll make it simple. Like, do you think that the transition from certain organizations that are currently ruled by DAOs, do you think that this should be just like a kind of movement that developers should push towards adopting, because it does decentralize the whole ecosystem of Ethereum? Besides just saying, hey, we think that this is cool tech and anyone can use it, that's one step. But taking it a step further as far as like actually pushing for the whole ecosystem to start talking about like who does rule the code, who actually does control not only your funds, but your work and everything that you put into as far as a community member that takes part in an organization. So I didn't make it simple, but should it be like something you preach as like this is something everyone should be trying to work towards, like gradually at least?
Yeah.
No, the question is clear. Well, I can respond. I can answering you saying that since the really, really, really early stage betas of DFO protocol, when I saw the main picture after going there and code, when I saw the main picture, I just figured that centralization is just a particular way of decentralization. It's a specific case of decentralization. And this means that if the more powerful is the tool, the more people can attract. So I think that it will be a natural step forward to pass from a company-centric project to a community-centric project, which is the one that Ethereum is bringing, if you think about it. For example, in the 2017 bubble, there were a lot of blockchains this, blockchain that, blockchain those, and every time there was just some investor pumping with the marketing the idea, where there was an enterprise working on it. But the Ethereum one was just there with communities, and it brought a lot of amazing stuff without spending any penny in marketing, just because there was the community was ruling it, not the companies. So I think that it will be a natural step to pass from the DAO's approach to the DFO one.
So I'm not. Oh, can I just follow up with one quick thing before you answer? Just is this kind of a bunch of different blockchains, like kind of what we think of as zombie chains now? Do you think that's kind of like what we'll see is like a bunch of zombie DAOs, kind of just because?
There is a thing. Okay. So I'm not 90% agree with what Marco said, because I think the word community is not the right word, and basically is the misleading of DAOs. So the concept of on-chain governance is not only about one use case that is community-driven project. That is a one use case. Like there are some of the organization in the real world that are driven by a democratic way to organize them. But de facto, that without relying on an off-chain company, countries, politics, and all of these things can attack you, because you have shareholders that are on-chain, and nobody can stop them to work on the protocol. And if your architecture, so it's not only about all of the people that work on a protocol, because it's naturally that there will be people that know how to code in Solidity, people that know how to implement things. And I think that some of the architecture we have in the real world, like companies with equities, they can be translated to be on-chain companies with of protocols, and so we will have both. And because for example, the thing is that there will be zombie DAOs. I think yes, totally, because it's the new bubble. So I know I'm not politically correct in say what I'm saying, but the that's the thing. So everyone are creating pool-based DAOs just to build a token and make short-term money. So that's Ethereum. Welcome to the 2017 in 2021. And so
we rolled back the blockchain, yeah.
yeah. And so it's kind of, I mean, something that I like on Ethereum, that it's kind of like a community of people from all around the world that's trying to learn what is really valuable, what is the next challenge in this technology. So as Marco said before, it's a natural evolution. It's a natural thing that will happen. And so when people will figure it out, that DAOs, for example, so basic DAOs are just a pulse, or when people will figure it out that maybe they have token on DAOs, but they need to rely on the team for the evolution of the protocol. And when countries will start to say, okay, bro, you are doing things that are not totally decentralized, and so I will attack you because you are doing things that are not 100% legal if you do it, the same things in the real world, like what the SEC is doing with stablecoin the last days. So that's good, because if you made a stablecoin, you have to work with the countries to say that you really have all of the dollars in there, and so that's the thing. And so there is a lot of things that are important about on-chain organization. So it's the factor to create something that is totally unstoppable. That's it. So if you throw by
exactly unstoppable.
Yeah, that's the thing. So community is important, and community driven is important. But in my personal view of this technology, because obviously from core devs, we don't agree in 100% of things, okay? So there are a lot of discussion about the evolution and things, so that's normal. My personal view of it is that people can, most of the people will vote in sub-DAOs, and most of the coders will vote in the DFO part, because DAOs are not bad. It's a cool technology, okay? Because it's the idea to vote in fixed things, and it's not bad. The problem is when you have a DAO, when the code is owned by an off-chain company, and people seeing these DAOs like equity on top of Ethereum. That's the issue. So the DAO stack is cool, but and attached to and controlled by DFO can be very, very great in the future. So that's my point.
Yeah, well, I think they're symbiotic after you add that layer that at the end of the day, it's an unstoppable on-chain, still could be used by anyone to be updated and continued. That's kind of the huge difference, because there will be zombie DAOs, but if they're never backed by that DAO stack that then gets absorbed by a DFO architecture, it just seems like, it would fix a lot of problems, though, with the ability for people to not actually have true control of their equity, for instance. But yeah, thanks for the answer, guys.
My personal opinion, the importance of ruling the code is like the importance of have a virtual machine inside the blockchain architecture. So I don't know if Marco is
yeah, it's the ecosystem engine, so absolutely yes. And I just wanted to say that before that in my previous answer, I was just talking about the companies, not the idea that the DAOs are not good, just the fact that they are ruled by companies.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's a bad thing, basically.
Yeah, but companies can still have DFOs. Like, they can still exist post DFO absorbing the entirety of Ethereum potential.
Yeah, they can be shareholder of DFOs, so they can have tokens. Yeah,
Everyone wins.
Yeah, but you are reducing the control in that way, so that's better than today in most of the cases. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Some questions on the live stream or from mods, or
I have a question kind of related to conviews. When DAOs describe themselves as decentralized, like if you read the DeFi Pulse description of Uniswap, for example, it says a fully decentralized exchange. Do you think that when they describe themselves this way, they're being like misleading? And
that's
if so, do you think
philosophical.
or do you think
That's
that they like think that people know that they're talking about decentralization on some kind of spectrum, and that while they may not be like fully there, they still are to some degree decentralized?
I want to, for my personal view of it, obviously, Uniswap is one of the most decentralized MMM we have because, so the approach of the architecture of Uniswap is basically that you have liquidity pools, and so I'm not talking about the DAO, I'm talking about the AMM, okay? And they can update the router, okay? So the router is the orchestrator of swaps, basically. That most of the case you call the router and not directly the liquidity pool. And they are rolling this by the fact that when they upgrade the new, for example, a new version of the router, they upgrade the front end and people use this. So basically, this is decentralized because smart contract there. But users are doing what they choose as a company. But this is not something that they are bad in acting on it, or they want to act bad, or they want to do things. It's basically that the technology is evolving and is constantly evolving. So people in 2012, 2013 thought that put data on Bitcoin is like a decentralized things, okay? And after we reached the AVM and the idea of have a virtual machine on top of Ethereum, and so it's kind of an evolution, and people trying to have the most decentralized architecture as they can when they build something. So I think if you think about only just smart contract are there, so yeah, it's totally decentralized. But if you think about the idea that people follow what the team made, I think they can start doing better. So that's my personal opinion. You, Marco?
My opinion is that they are not going to misleading the decentralized world just because of the state of art. This means that from now on, of course, with the on-chain organizations, the rules will change. But from now on, that was the top level of the decentralization they can offer, they can have available. So then, of course, the R&D projects go ahead, and a more specific concept of decentralization will be brought to the world. So I think just it's not misleading. It's just the not so evolved technology of that time, because of course we are now in another time with another. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can say is that if you see the DAOs infrastructure, the DAOs of Uniswap, in my opinion, is one of the best one in terms of code. I mean, because there are some DAOs that are very. I don't think they have to be called DAO. I think they have to be called decentralized polls. Because if you don't vote to execute code, what are you spending your Ethereum? You can use Telegram or Discord or Facebook, okay, and make a poll there. It's cheaper and faster. And so, by the way, that's my personal opinion. And